guarantees. Come on, come on, come on, prove me wrong. Tuck your friendship bracelet back in your shell suit sleeve. Come on back in time with me. For the again, and hello, it's Fo, and welcome back to Project Zomboid. Our man has woken up very early. 4:10. Gonna get on with some base building. Still got ambitious plans for these two outbuildings, the laundromat and the grocery store, that we're converting into places to stay for future survivors that we're to find. Still got to do all the fencing around our perimeter walkway as well. Yeah, we've only got one more place to go and visit to get everywhere cleared off. So yeah, mainly just base building left to do. Try to get his cooking level up. Would be good for him to get another skill maxed out. Yeah, we want to get him the mods. If he was to be able to carry on into the next build, he would want the solar power, so he can use his car batteries to power the base if the generator runs out of fuel. That would allow him to go further afield, explore more of the map. Yeah, that's his big plans for the future that he's not gonna be allowed to have. It's better that the developers make sure that the new additions that they want to add to the game actually work. If that means having to rewrite some of the code or rework the whole map, it's a sacrifice that must be made. It's a better experience. The game works. It's better than like The Sims, where they're trying to just shoehorn extra things into the code. Breaking elements of the base game as they're doing it. A lot more grueling. But better experience, more rewarding. So we're trying to do up this van, get rid of all the bad components, use all the good components from the heavy duty vehicles that are here. This is what the developers intend. This is how we're supposed to get our mechanics level up, rather than just watching Carzone VHSs. Yeah, thankfully we've got enough vehicles round about. Especially the white van.
There never seemed to be anything wrong with the components of that, but yet it just would not go. Yeah, it doesn't help when we're removing or installing parts if it fails. The condition of the part goes down. Presumably with a higher level we would fail less often. But you still get mechanics XP when you're failing repeatedly. So it's not the end of the world. Yeah, it's certainly rather grindy if you're trying to level it up. If you just play with the normal settings, the vehicles are in poorer condition. So you'd end up having to do all this anyway. Just didn't find it realistic that all the cars would get poorly, the same as all the people in the apocalypse. The crashed cars make sense. If people turned when they were driving. Yeah, just your average cars in all the driveways and stuff. Doesn't make any sense that it would be in shocking condition. So yeah, we're getting there. Getting the XP. And getting ourselves a prime condition van. Should run better. Less likely to get a random puncture. When you do damage to the boot as well, you can store less things in it. If you do bump into something, you're doing damage to the hood before the engine. But if the hood goes down and it's in really poor condition, then you start doing damage to the engine. That's when the vehicles just stop working on you. And sometimes leave you in a precarious situation, surrounded by zombies, if that's what you're bumping into. So yeah, we've still got plenty of stale ingredients. Trying to keep on top of things. It's a full-time job. And you need to have done plenty of raiding to have all the pots to store all the stew. Our wounds are infected from leveling up our first aid skill. Try and get them sorted. We've got loads and loads of medical stuff. I'll have to do a final sorting of things. Can take the tailor and stuff through to somewhere else and spread out all of the first aid stuff in this room where everything can have its own container. Yeah, we've got plenty of supplies. Antibiotics to fight off any infections. Yeah, you don't get much mechanics XP for all that work we did for the van. Yeah, we're getting there. Base is looking fantastic. Need to get more of these railings done. Thankfully there's still plenty of opportunities to chop down trees, get the lumber we need. Didn't really use the shortcut that much. It was a fun side mission. Kept him busy. Helped us get enough wood for this fantastic fortress. Yeah, a lot of nails. Yeah, when you want to build an awesome base, finding boxes of nails, that's the key thing you want to find. Watering our crops, making sure we're not neglecting them. We've got plenty of room to spread all our stuff out. Gonna move all the metalwork stuff up next to the garage. Kills are looking good. Our weight's going up. Yeah, we do have a lot of food to try and get our way through before it goes rotten. He's got to keep his energy up anyway, doing all this work. Certainly takes out of him doing the base building. Yeah, we're getting through him. Got more than enough boxes left. Then we can finish what we started. Yeah, he's getting tired already. 20 past 3. Coffee doesn't fix it. That's not a good sign. Yeah, we've freed up another pot to make another stew. Yeah, it's good having the 3 fridges in a row. You can move all the stale ingredients across, so we can use them up first. And move everything along. Yeah, so we can focus on the first fridge, make sure we're using up all the stale ingredients. Try and move everything across one fridge as it starts to turn. Means that we're going through the stews and soups and everything in the right order as well. I think you can name them all individually. You could give them like julienne codes or name them after the days that you put them in. Still not zombie free. Yeah, the migration is real. There's another one. Don't want to fight when you're overloaded with logs. I think it's easier, we'll just run this one over. Don't want to hit them too hard because then you damage the car. Just gently roll over them back and forth. Yeah, I think we need to add about 10 to the number, because it doesn't count the vehicle kills. Yeah, it's hard to tell if all the zombies that we've killed all started off within the area, or whether or not they've come in from further afield to replace the ones that we did kill. I'm sure that is a thing. Yeah, a few runs back and forth to go get more logs. There are still logs lying around where we've done big chops previously. Yeah, accidentally click open all on the nails, and they're actually so heavy that we need to do something about it because they're overloading us. Try and split them up into different containers. But yeah, I'm sure we've got enough to see us through to the end. Yeah, with it getting to the end, I want to treat him a little bit. Let him watch some of his VHS that he's hoarded. I was just using them as tools to get rid of boredom. Not letting him actually enjoy himself for a little bit, you know? We've kept him going all this time. Just a little bit longer. A few more zombies to kill, a few more fences to build. One scary radio place to go visit. It's hopefully not going to be swarming with zombies. Build a little escape here so we can get through the broken window and climb up to the roof. So he's up at 5, that's better than 4. Got some stale stuff we need to cook. Some rotten stuff we need to put in the composter. Breakfast of champions. Fish and rodents. Yeah, you can keep adding the same ingredients until it's going to make him unhappy. You can add in a few other things. Yeah, he's going to be quite happy with his rodent meat stew. At this point in the apocalypse, I suppose you've got to take what you get. So he sets up his escape rope, but because he's done it all on one tile, basically, he can't go through the window, because it automatically climbs the rope. He's got no choice. So we're going to have to extend this out a bit, make it into a 2-tile enclosure, and move the rope across one, basically. But the idea is good. Our citizens of our little cult, if we were to get some, the faithful, the ones who were tasked with guard duty, would be in this room. We'd be able to make a quick escape and get up to the battlements, so they could take on any intruders. Yeah, bless him, he's preparing like he's going to be able to continue all the way on forever. That's better than just hanging around the base. It's fairly easy to survive for 100 days once you know what you're doing and you've got the skills to not get got, and you've learned the health and safety things, not falling 2 stories from a base that you've built yourself and dying that way. And there's lots of different ways to die. But once you've experienced each one, you're wiser, and after the time you've invested into it, yeah, you definitely don't want to make the same mistake again. You know, we could just hide in the base and do like a wide perimeter sweep to bump off any zombies that have come wandering into our patch. Yeah, I want to take some nails, but just a little bit. Even grabbing half of this big amount, you know, it's not going to let us, unless we're in our main inventory. Yeah, I'll take half of half of half. Yeah, don't want to be crushed under the weight of our awesome amount of nails. Suffering from success. So yeah, we want some furniture for our sort of barracks building. And the other building, you know, we'll connect it across. But the other building we want to be just for the normal citizens. We're going to have just beds and the stove and everything. It's like a living quarters. Yeah, big plans for this late on. But as I say, carry on as though you're going to be able to carry on. He doesn't know that he's not going to be able to carry his progress across. Got to keep making progress. this car just needs some gas, so we'll take some back from the base. Another car to add to the arsenal. Easy way to get all this furniture back. Another stew eaten. Another pot freed up. Get our cooking on. He's definitely a good cook by this point. Working wonders with all those stale ingredients. Making appetizing food out of it. As I say, there's just so much of it. Our garden's too large. Definitely making too many crops for one person. And not staggering them. So there's a whole bunch of them ready at the same time. That's not very wise. Yeah, could have been better. But yeah, we've only got that one composter. It was filled with a lot of stuff that wasn't. It was still in containers and stuff. Once we got all that out. Yeah, like 40 kilos of rotten food. It is mainly the veg. I haven't wasted too much of the protein. Needs that for all the battling the undead. Move this sink. Make that little room into a room again. Can be their bathroom. That's a good thing about nature reclaiming the land. Got a lot of little trees coming through. Easy to chop down, just a couple of swings. Guaranteed one log. That's the way to go. Preserve the condition of the wood axe at all costs. We have to use the hand axe or a crafted axe. A lot more swings. It's going to get tired a lot easier. They're going to break a lot more. So yeah, if you're making a massive base, boxes of nails, wood axe, MVP. Disassembling people's furniture is good for XP in the early game, in the mid game. But for actual large scale construction, yeah, you're going to want to be chopping down trees. Finding the logging containers, have a whole bunch of stuff in them. So much better with the fences. It feels better, you know. Feeling safe, that's what it's all about. Again, we're letting him chill for a bit. Watch some of these VHSs. Real builders keep their hard hat on, even when they're done for the day. Yeah, it's like a play on Psycho. You get a little bit of short blade experience from watching it. Yeah, that's a good one. It's not that many are actually useful. You know, the TV shows. The Car Zone, you know. I think there's one of the horror movies that's guaranteed to make your character scared. You get anxious and stuff. I'm sure it's one of the dog goblin ones. It would be good to try and collect all of the home videos. I think there's 100 of them. And of course they'd be distributed across the entire map. So you'd have to not really hang about, nip into houses, raid their media, get back out. In the early days, yeah, maybe raid their fridge, their freezer, and their media, and then get out. Try and get your way across the entire map. Collect all 100 videos. That'd be a good one to do, but it would take a long time. Obviously, as the time goes on, when you get into the winter, it's harder to deal with. You have to wrap up warmer, you're more exposed to elements and stuff, more likely to catch a cold. That's an extra problem. But if you survive like a whole year or longer, you get the problem with the nature reclaiming things, that you get trees growing up through the concrete in the roads and stuff. It's harder to actually get places. So I think if you were doing one of these challenges that you want to cover that much ground, you'd definitely have to go with the longer days. So maybe something like a 24-hour day, doing it in like real time. That might be the way to go if you were trying to cover the whole map and get all 100 videos. So he's up a bit late, but that's fine. It's better than early. It's foggy anyway, so he's not missing much out there. Working his way through his food. Forever trying to process all this stale stuff. Getting his cooking XP. Yeah, I don't think you really need trapping on a medium to large scale and farming on a medium to large scale. Certainly not fishing as well. I think maybe just fully invest in one. Unless you make your character super hungry. If you know you're gonna survive for a decent amount of time. Maybe taking those negative traits of the way forward. Yeah, even in the fog, base looks better with the fences. Yeah, I love the look. It satisfies my love of health and safety. So yeah, we need to make some space, taking the melted ice cream out. That's something that's containers. Yeah, do a bit of John McClane. Walking on broken glass. Yeah, apparently you get more XP from removing the glass with the tweezers. So we do that repeatedly, rather than the bandage repeatedly. But once our health is down to about halfway, get one of them stitched up, so we can play the bandage game with the other one. So we'll get an infection. So then we switch things up. So we've got the other foot stitched. And we can play the bandage game with the other one. Just trying to get more first aid XP. Yeah, still trying to level up all the way to the end. Yeah, as I say, we've got plenty of first aid gear. As long as his health doesn't get down too low. Should be good. He gets an extra scratch on his foot just from walking about with no socks and shoes on. That's when you get for having a wooden base. You are going to get splinters, I suppose. Dealing with that much wood. He doesn't do any sanding in between chopping down trees and chopping logs into planks and making these fences and floors and stuff. So yeah, you can only imagine how rough it is. That's it, he's a grizzled apocalypse survivor with his little pink bow in his hair. He's tough. It's good that his hair and his beard and everything stayed blonde after dyeing it. Get that first aid XP. Gives us the excuse to read a book. Don't want to spend all our time reading. We've still got more awesome base building to do. Yeah, it would be good to keep some natural cover around the base and repeatedly go down to the shortcut to take all the wood from that forest. But it does take a lot of time going back and forth. More efficient to go get it very locally sourced. I'd like to get the perimeter all done, and then work on the inner sky bridges. It'll only feel done when that's all finished. Just do a little work inside the barracks. Make it a bit more homely. Try and split up these masses of nails. Yeah, it took too long to realise that I'd opened all the boxes and it was a bad idea. I should back up. Yeah, he reads some more of his book until bedtime. He's hungry, so he has to waste another 40 minutes cooking up a stew. But why not? Fill your boots. Treat yourself. Yeah, we're doing not bad. Not a lot of stale stuff on the ingredients list. Getting our way through it. Just gotta keep an eye on the stuff in the freezers as well, you know. It will turn. Late to bed. Find her eyes just about the right time. Reads his book, but it's getting cold. And it's not like he's not wearing his gear. Time to switch it up. Get on some heavier stuff. Yeah, I definitely don't want him catching a cold, not at this point. Try and keep him cozy. Soups and stews, that's the way to do it. Almost on top of all the stale ingredients. As long as we get the main stuff for the protein, it doesn't matter if we've farmed inefficiently. That's what we get. Not too bothered about the food going rotten if it's overproduction, but not the precious protein. That's the important stuff. Try and sit here. We're building out the roof a little bit, extending it out. Doesn't need to be so trim. Trying to square it off a little bit. But yeah, sitting there didn't do the trick. Do have to come back inside. But yeah, another book done. Managed to get a level of axe. Yeah, hand axe, pretty good for chopping down zombies. More so than trees. Same with the fire axe. You know, you can use them for chopping down trees, but you'll blunt them very quick. Condition will go down. It'll be a lot more effort to chop down the tree. The character will get out of puff faster. So yeah, a mixture of cooking and fencing. Last two things he's working towards. Getting that max level cooking. Finishing off all this fencing. Yeah, a bit of a task. But we'll get there. Yeah, hopefully the weather's a little bit better tomorrow for his visit to the radio tower. Don't want it to be spooky and foggy. Zombies coming out of every direction. Place I'm not that familiar with. Don't want to leave it till the last day for that reason. So yeah, we'll go tomorrow. Mouse traps have been very successful. Plenty of rodent meat. Yep, in the apocalypse, protein is protein. Yeah, gets easy tired out from all this base building. I think it's the combination of being overloaded from carrying the logs back and forth and the actual work. Seems to tire them out more than zombie slaying. Yeah, all these batteries that we've saved up, hardly ever use the torch. Even when it's dark and I'm doing the fencing. Yeah, why not turn the torch on so you can see what you're doing? Better not, better save those batteries. Yeah, we'll come back next time. Pick up where we left off from. Continue the last part of the adventure. Till then, take it easy. I'll see you in the next one.